What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Steve from Printer Gang Investments, back with another video. And in today's video, I want to talk about financial literacy. And what I would say is the new playbook for financial literacy, because in my journeys, in this market with finance, credit, business, stocks, what I notice is a lot of people are just stuck on the old advice, the old way of doing things. And with the economy, with the way things are going, that's not necessarily how things work today. So, I'm just going to tell you guys in this video the things I do to keep myself above ground financially, would keep me with stocks and keeps me in a good position in the game, man. So first and foremost, I'm the type of person, I only respect expertise. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care what job you have. I don't care what title you are. I care what the research says. So if you're an expert at a subject matter, I'm going to listen to you. If you're not an expert in that subject matter, I don't give a fuck what you got to say. So the way I break that down is, if someone is, let's say, a junior level AI developer or something, I'm going to listen to what that guy is telling me about AI more so than a guy who makes $1 million a year and happens to use ChatGPT, unless he's using ChatGPT to make the money. You see what I'm saying? Because I need the expertise. That's why I get a lot of things right. That's why a lot of people don't listen to me, because they be like, oh, Steve ain't rich, Steve ain't rich. But I do a lot of research. That's why Palantir went from 80 to 155. That's why Robinhood went from 8 to 100. That's why Oklo's up through the roof. That's why a lot of stocks that we've called on this channel are up through the roof, because I have expertise in a subject matter. And no matter what people want to say, no matter how much they want to say, oh, Steve, you're broke, you're broke, you're broke, you spent this, you spent that, the numbers don't lie. Palantir is 155. We up 70% this year because we did the research and the thesis is panning out. Companies are left and right happy to partner with Palantir, betting the whole boat on partnering with Palantir. Their bottom lines are being changed by Palantir. It's the same thing that we said several years ago. So that's what I would tell people on the expertise side. Now, the second part that I would say is part of the new financial literacy playbook is research. I was just listening to The Compound. That's a stock market podcast, I believe, with Josh Brown and a few other professional money manager types. And they were just explaining how retail really did what they needed to do this year. We caught the Trump dip. We made a lot of money. I made 70% on the account I show y'all. I made a lot of money on my other accounts. And a lot of hedge fund managers didn't do that because they were so obsessed with what Trump was talking about. They thought the tariffs was just going to be this and that. And most retail, including me, if you watch my previous videos, I was saying this is one of the greatest money getting opportunities ever. Pile in, buy the dip, all that. A lot of big money managers did not do that. And that's because as a retail investor, I don't just buy a stock. Y'all might see me trade a lot of stocks, but if you notice the stocks I talk about, it doesn't change day over day over day. I did a lot of research on these stocks. I do a lot of research on these stocks to choose the ones I want, like reading through balance sheets, reading through earnings reports, listening to experts in the field, seeing what they got to say. If you could listen to an employee from the company, all those types of things will help play in to what you need to do. So I would say that's the research side of financial literacy. Another thing that keeps me up, and I don't talk about this like that, but my credit is extremely good, 700 plus, man. And I'm going to use that in the future to leverage certain things. You know what I'm saying? I've used in the past to leverage certain things, but you got to keep your credit up, man. You can't be out there maxed out on credit cards getting hit for 30% interest. I try and keep my utilization personally under 10%. If times is tough, I might let it creep up to 15, 20, but I don't really let the utilization go above 20, because you always need to keep it low so you can borrow something. I try and keep some sort of installment loan on my credit at all times. I avoid car notes and mortgages because those can mess up your debt to income ratio. So that's another piece of advice I would tell people. Me personally, I don't intend on buying a house with my credit score anytime soon. Like, I probably end up buying my first house in cash one day. What I intend to do is I intend to stack up money, continue to stack up money. I'm about halfway there where I need to be for the financial requirements. I say once I probably get maybe $200,000 or so, I'm gonna probably go and get a construction loan and start building houses. That's something you can do with your credit. Talk to some bankers about it. You know, I got the credit for it. I got some of the money for it, and really I could probably take out loans to do the whole thing, but I'm learning the game from other people who are in that field. So I always tell people credit is a key tenet to financial literacy as well. The next thing I would tell people is do not listen to people just because they got some money. Because, like, all right, look at my favorite hater. He's still over there lying to his subscribers. Last week he told him I blew up my whole account. Now he lying to him, telling him my portfolio moving backwards, knowing damn well we just made $10,000 in cash in Palantirs at 158. And people are actually listening to this dude. And all of them didn't buy Palantir, listen to that fool. Not gonna buy Palantir, not gonna buy any of the stocks that went up, because they're listening to someone because of what they have, not because of what they know. They're listening to a high school dropout who got a job because his dad gave him the job. The dude doesn't have any real skill. He got put on. Like, so to take financial advice from somebody who just fell into some money, that's why you're going to get the results you're going to get. Of course you're not going to outperform the S&P doing that, because you're listening to someone who doesn't know anything about stocks at all. He just got money. Versus someone who researches stocks every day and knows what the companies he's invested in doing. So what I would tell people is you got to stick with the source of the expertise, and you got to fact check everything. If I say something, if I talk about a certain stock, do not just take my word for it. I wouldn't do that. You need to go look at the rest of the world. See what other people are saying about the stock. See what the research says about the stock. See what the analysts are saying about the stock. Anything in life. Same with AI. That's why I disappeared. I'm working with AI in the background, like I said. But when I'm on that journey, I'm listening to AI experts. I'm not even listening to the stock guys when it comes specifically to AI, because they're just investors. All they know about is like me. I know Palantir is growing. I know what AIP does. I know, what's the word I'm looking for? I know about the business. I know about the moat. But I don't work there. I'm not hands-on with it. So when I'm trying to actually learn AI itself, I'm going to listen to the experts in that. That's how I learned about vibe coding. That's how I learned about AI agents. That's how I learned about a lot of things that are coming up. Even with the Figma IPO, I already knew what Figma was because I was just using the AI tool, because I was just learning about AI tools, and I understand why that stock is going up. And now, this last piece, I'll say, is the most controversial advice I will give. And I ain't saying I could be wrong on this, but this is, if it's anything I say in this video that I wouldn't follow to a T, but it has worked for me, is, man, fuck that Dave Ramsey advice, man. All that, pay off all your credit card debt, then save up tens of thousands of dollars before you invest. I'm not saying that's the wrong way to do it, but I'll say for me, in this era, I couldn't do it that way. I couldn't do it that way. What I would advise people to do is I would advise people to do a little bit of each. Now, it depends on how much debt you in, because, all right, obviously, if you're in catastrophic credit card debt and they hit you over the head for 30%, you might do need to attack that. But if your debt's more reasonable, more manageable, I would tell people build some cash savings, pay off a larger amount of the debt, but send a huge portion of that money to the stock market. Because if that money's in the stock market, even if you're not a trader like me, even if you're not someone who knows how to use options, I would say just the S&P 500 or growth stocks. Either route, either one of those routes, you could potentially beat your credit card debt. Like, I've done it. Well, I ain't really had no credit card debt I had to pay off from the stock market, but I have a friend. My friend racked up $70K in credit card debt, 0% APR period, ran out on him, and he was knocking it down off his regular job. He was knocking it down, but you know, the interest is real at that point. I think my man getting hit like $20,000 a year. What'd he do? He know how to trade for real. He traded Palantir with me. He paid off all the debt over the past 2.5 years. Now, if he had listened to Dave Ramsey's advice and put all the money into his debt and emergency fund, he probably still owe $50,000 right now. Because Palantir made so much money that his principal, he did over 1,000% too. He don't want to show his face like me because he don't want to argue on the internet with people like I do. But he made so much money by putting his money in the market instead of just only attacking the debt, that he was able to make $70K and pay the debt off. And I'm not saying everybody could do that. You know, they say 90% of traders lose. I would say personally, from my experience, I would think that would be more day traders, like, because day trading is a lot easier to lose money in that way. I mean, I don't know for sure because they don't really have the numbers on swing traders, but I don't think 90-something% of swing traders is failing. Because if 90-something swing traders is failing, that means your boy Steve from Printing Gang Investments is in the top 1%. You feel me? But what I would tell people to do, if you're not trained, you don't know how to play with options or nothing like that, like let's say you owe $10,000, they hang you over the head. Okay, attack it. Don't do the minimum payment, pay more, but put some of that money in the stock market, man. Research some companies. If you don't have time, you could just buy the SPY, but try to learn something so you can invest in more than just the SPY. Like, a lot of people are forced to only invest in the SPY because they're intellectually lazy. They don't want to learn anything. They don't want to figure out what a company's doing. They just want to get paid and get off work and watch their favorite TV show. And that's okay. But don't come crying to me when we up thousands of percent and you're making up excuses, lying, telling people I blew up my account. You feel me? But what I would tell people to do, man, especially with the housing market right now, like, the average person, they say the average person is never going to be able to afford a house. I think the average house costs like $400,000 right now. And looking around in society, they might not be wrong. Like, now, I could afford a down payment on a house if I wanted to. I'm not going to do nothing like that. I'm going to keep my money in that market. But what I would tell people, the only way the average person is going to get enough money to buy a house is to put their money in the market instead of saving it in cash. Like, this is another controversial opinion. The old way of saving money in cash for a down payment in this inflation era, I would say that's dead personally. I don't know about y'all. I would say that's dead. Like, you see, I couldn't even see myself saving large sums of money in cash. Like, me personally, I can't save more than like a few $1,000s in cash. I get fed up. I get to putting it right back in that market. Like, I would tell people, if you're saving for a down payment on a house, just buy the S&P 500. Like, you ain't got to buy Nvidia, you ain't got to buy Palantir, you don't got to buy Bitcoin or Robinhood. You know, if you want to do some research, you know what I'm saying, that might be a good idea. You can make some serious money. But I would tell people, stack that money in the SPY. Stack that money in the SPY so your money could actually grow. Don't stack it in cash. Like, I'm completely against stacking money in cash almost at this point. Like, the only reason I even keep bank accounts is because my credit score high and I might have to ask them for something like a credit card or a loan or a construction loan or something like that. But that's all the bank's really good for. Like, they're good for your paycheck to come in and they're good to send it out. Like, all my money is in my 4 brokerages: Webull, Robinhood, Charles Schwab, and Fidelity. And I actually just opened up a brand new Chase account, man. And I'm going to open up the brokerage in there. And I'm going to actually start that one from scratch. Maybe with like a little side hustle or something. I want to show y'all how I build these kind of portfolios from the beginning. But anyway, you know, let me know what y'all think of the things I said in this video. It's your boy Steve from Printing Gang Investments. And I'm going to see y'all soon.